period start over?
Yes, he has a 1-year probationary period. So,
Mayor, does that mean this person was a part paid volunteer?
yes, in his first fire, I guess, was the Ponderosa fire.
Oh, okay.
Does that gain him a promotion? No, I mean, going to full time,
Oh, yeah.
does he have to be a lieutenant?
Yep. He'd be from a standard firefighter to a lieutenant.
Yes.
okay, Mayor, just one last thing on this FYI. So is it now the city's policy not to say the names? I mean, he's already been hired, so.
Well, we certainly can. I know there was some issue about it, but it seemed like for a while there, we were just saying that the position was filled. But his name is Bradley Senior or Sainer. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Same.
Sainer,
CEYNAR?
NAR, yeah.
Okay.
And he'll start training with the daytime people. And then he'll move to get trained on the night shift. So they're taking care of training him, and we'll move forward from there.
That moves us to 4 full-time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, next item is this one might take a little more information here.
Yes.
Is to look at a possible contract for shedding and disposal of hard drives and paper.
Yes. Katie brought it to me because this company, it's called Shred ND. They are contracted at the hospital, at the courthouse, and somewhere else. The schools.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know the schools had them too. Well, then there's 4 places in town. So I did contact them, and they sent me the information. So what I'm gonna propose, and we'll see where it goes. The unit is like the roll-off garbage cans. It's about that size, but it's completely locked. You just put the paper in it. Then they pick up the unit and shred it all right there. And then they take it back and bundle it. So it's double shredded. It can't be put back together. So the police have a lot of old records that could be shredded. It would cost about $50 a month to get one of these garbage can things put at the police department. Now, City Hall has a great deal of documents and old hard drives down in the basement, but there's a lot of rules about record retention, which we need to follow. And a lot of, well, not a lot, but some of the documents in the basement are historical, and some of the documents have to be preserved forever. Now, what we really need to do is go down there and do kind of an inventory. And then we also would need to identify, what could be shredded, like, old landfill tickets that we have triplicates of, and, old water bills, and those kind of things. We could shred them if they're older than so many years, but not everything in the basement can be shredded. And I feel that we need to look at this Shred North Dakota in 2 different ways. One, they will contract to do a purge, which is what I think the city of Glendive needs to do once we identify what records we need to keep, and reorganize the historical records, because we've got a lot of these leather-bound books where everything was handwritten, and those should all be preserved. But like I said, I mean, we've got, some employee records from people that have been dead for 20, 30, 40 years, those kind of things could be disposed of. So I'm not trying to make more work for myself, but I do feel that this has been kicked down the road for a long time. And if you go down in the basement, you realize that all of this stuff, just the newer stuff is piled on the older stuff, and it's piled up in rooms. The jail cells down there are full of documents and boxes. The hallway, you can, there's maybe as wide, not even as wide as this desk to walk through there, because we've got all the old computer equipment too, and they will all also destroy those hard drives. So then the unit can be destroyed, because, you know, we can't get rid of something that might have information on it that someone could, you know, get out of there. So I'm just bringing it forward. I think if we're going to look at doing a large purge of this, it's going to take time, and we would need to put that in our next budget, because I don't see where I'd have money to pay for a purge. But as far as like $50 a month to pay for the police to be able to do it, I did talk to the city court. They don't have any shredding that they need done. There is some with the ambulance. But like I said, I printed all this out, and this tells you exactly how long you have to keep every document, and it's pretty specific. So like I said, I don't know who we would have do that. And right now, I don't have time to do it. So what I am asking for us to take to the council is to approve for the police department to have one of these. It's at a cost of about $53 a month, I think. And it will hold about 9 boxes of paper. So if we get them on a monthly schedule, maybe they'll get caught up. It's not a contract that goes on for a year. It's a month-to-month thing. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. They've been really upfront with me and given me all kinds of information and how it all works. So I kind of typed up what I found, if you want to just take a sheet and pass it around, and that gives most of the information about it. But as far as doing a purge of, well, what is it, 123 years worth of documents down there.
Mayor, excuse me, is there any upfront costs about, you know, I mean, for somebody from North Dakota to come and set this up, and then every month they come here, $53 seems pretty inexpensive.
I think they pretty regularly,
Yeah.
maybe even
Every 4 weeks. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
later than
Okay, well, that makes some more, so that's, and it's just month to month, so if the police department says we're caught up and we don't have need for it for 6 months to a year, then you can.
It takes time. Night shift working on something, and Janet's working.
we'll be able to out here.
Yeah, the problem is they said that the bin must be on the main floor for them to wheel it in and out, so they won't be able to get it up those stairs or the side stairs. So that's why I'm thinking perhaps if we did budgeted for the purge, which I'll try to get an estimate of what the cost would be if we budget for that next time, then perhaps we can keep up with the shredding on a regular basis, you know, because we do have a shredder. We do shred now all the time, but it's all that stuff that's in the basement that now is way past its need for us to keep it, I guess.
So Mayor, excuse me, then somebody from the city, mayor, maybe, if,
Or maybe
We-
a council person, Mike, would want to go down.
well, I was gonna just say volunteer knows that the words were having trouble getting across my tongue there. But, you know, but I was thinking it will take a while to get, like, the fact that we have to wait for the budget's not a problem, because I think it'll be
Oh, yeah.
hopefully summer, fall at the latest, because we wouldn't want you to miss out on this, Mayor.
No, no.
And so we want to get it done this year, calendar year. And so, yeah, that purge, but we don't know what that would cost, but we'll deal with that as it comes. But yeah, if we could, eventually, we'd like to have that area down there removed of things that don't need to be there. And then we'll see what can be done with what's the space that is opened up after that.
Well, remember, I
Had
think
been
it was
achieved.
about a year ago, we talked about doing a preliminary architectural report of City Hall because we've got those bad cracks. And then in the basement, the floor is really heaved up. In one area, it's about a 2-foot high heave there. So I think it would help to have, we also still have mattresses, beds, bedpans, walkers from when they closed the jail down there, and then they made the basement temporarily into a nursing home for a while, for county nursing home residents when they closed the county nursing home over on the south side. This was all in the late 50s, early 60s. So, but all that material Public Works can just take that to the landfill. I don't think anyone wants a 75-year-old mattress, or these old porta potty things. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's some of those. There's walkers. There's a whole big, like, garbage can full of all sizes of wooden crutches. So, I mean, a lot of that we can just get out, but I think it would help to kind of have the basement cleaned out if we're going to do this, so that they can actually see what's going on, because with the way it's piled up now, you really can't tell where the problems are, except that it's everywhere. But
I definitely support get it out and
yeah.
have a plan so we don't end up in single.
Oh, yeah. Another 100 years later, somebody's dealing with it. But I think for now, if we could just ask for a motion to take this forward to the council for the month-to-month thing for the police, and then we'll start organizing that. I can start looking through those boxes and determine if they can be purged or if they need to be preserved, and then start labeling them. It's going to take some time, though.
Okay. Any objection to that? We'll take it to the council on Tuesday then to get started with the shredding for the police department stuff. Okay. Well, that sounds good. The only thing that makes me a little nervous about this is the Ranger Review headlines. Purge of city government, and I'm a little concerned. I know a lot of people have been waiting for that, but anyway, all right. Sorry, guys. I digress.
Okay.
So the next item is to talk about the pool for this summer, the swimming pool, and how much our budget will. We've never had a balanced budget per se on the swimming pool. Much of the costs over the years has been identified, and maybe it still is, or there it is, in the Public Works Department does a lot of the work, and so that ends up in that budget instead of what we thought of as the recreation budget. So, but anyway, we'll talk about the cost of the pool, or what we see as the perceived costs, fixed variable costs, and then what we would do with the fees for this summer for the swimming pool. Was there somebody back there that wanted to come in? Or somebody at the door? Oh, okay. Okay. So, Mayor, is this you then? You want to talk about this?
I'll tell you what I know so far.
Okay.
And that is, the pool's kind of goofy because it's in 2 fiscal years, right? We've only got the month of June for this year, and then we'll have July and August in the next budget period. So right now we've spent 46% of the budget for the pool, which leaves us with $87,169 So that would basically be for June. And then we would have to set the budget when we do the budget for the cost of July and August. Now, fiscal year 24, we were over budget by a little over $4,000. Our utility budget was over. We budgeted 22,000. We spent 33,000, so that was about 152%. The non-capitalized expenses, we budgeted 13,000. We spent 25, so that was almost 200 times. So I look back at what happened at the pool last year. So during July, they were closed many evenings and many weekends, and then they were closed the entire week of the 4th of July. And then the pool closed for the year that first week of August, so we really didn't have August expenses. So what I'm saying is, I have the numbers here, but this doesn't really exactly help us because we're paying for the water, we're paying for the chemicals. So I think it's important that we're open when we say we'll be open, because people who buy a pool pass were kind of angry when they were closed so many random times. They closed for the fair. Anyway, so what I'm looking at is maybe a committee that might want to study this a little more thoroughly and determine, could we do some evening swim lessons? Because that is something that people have asked about, because we only do them in the mornings. A lot of people work. So if we could be open more evenings, have some evening swimming lessons, and then I'm asking for one, either a weekend, Saturday or Sunday, or a night, that we do a discount where it's like $1 to go swimming or $5 for your family. Right now we charge $5 for a kid and $7 for an adult. The other thing I think that we need to look at, and I'm not a technical person, but the way that we do the pool passes right now, it's pretty easy to sneak anybody in with your pool pass. But I think if the pool pass had a QR code, then it would say who the people are on that pass, so that you can't bring your cousins and your neighbor and say, we have a pool pass. Several days last year, we didn't bring in any actual money because they said everyone had a pool pass. Well, I kind of question if we couldn't maybe be a little more cognizant of, and I'm not saying that everybody tries to take advantage of the system, but some people do. And having the 1 day a week where they can have like a family day or $1 a day where they can bring their floaties, I just thought it might get people who maybe wouldn't generally come to the pool to come. And then maybe if we could increase the number of people, then I feel like we can keep the cost down, because the more people we have paying into it, then it helps the city. But this is not going to be anything we're ever going to make money on, but we're providing a service, and I'd like to be able to just see more people use it. So those are my suggestions. And why I thought a committee might be good is just because they can take a look at all these numbers. Some of the things that we spent a lot of money on last year, we won't spend again, because we did the pool house upgrades and we did the bathroom stalls. We did a lot of painting. So, I mean, I don't think we'll have to go in there this year and do all those upgrades that we did last year. So anyway, I mean, I realize I can keep bringing the information to you guys and I can probably arrange it in a more understandable way. But I also think, it might be good to get some input from some other people besides just me always saying, here's the problem, here's what I see as a solution. Now, let's vote on it, instead of spending a little more time studying it. We did have people from out of town come and I did get some nice comments about our pool. And then of course we had the big swim meet last year and we got a lot of feedback about how nice our pool is and how nice it is to have it there in the park. And, people come and have a picnic and take their kids swimming. We had a whole bus load of kids from Freud come to swim. So I do think somehow with the pass, we've got to make that, just somehow make it so people are accountable if they're using the pass.
What kind
Let
of,
me ask you a couple questions, Mayor, just
Okay.
right off the top. The fees here, the fees you talked about holding down the cost. So are you suggesting, does that mean you want the fees to be reduced from where they are right now? Or you don't want them to increase as much? Is that kind of, you have
Well,
an
I hope
idea on
we
that?
don't have to increase because,
But you weren't thinking that from
no.
the fees where they're at. Okay, then the second question, the committee, when you talk about the committee, you mean committee of council people?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay,
Yeah.
not a committee of council and other,
Well, we might want
players.
to have the swim team president on there. We might want to make a committee and just take a hard look at it is what I'm saying.
because the swim
Because-
team does have certain sections where they use the pool where others aren't. And so like night lessons, which might be a good idea, would have to fit into the puzzle there and stuff. But
Mhm.
anyway, Jason, you had some stuff you
what
want.
kind of systems in place now for keeping track of comes and goes and money? Do we just, no computer, we just have a box, cash?
Well, we had a cash register there. But let's
Think we
just
just
say
bought
the
that.
records weren't kept very well last year. And I felt like when I tried to get to the bottom of how we determined our fees, they weren't determined in a mathematical way at all. They weren't based on usage or, so to me, it seemed like kind of random numbers that we chose to charge people. And then when I found out, that some people get other people in with their passes and that you can kind of game the system from that. So I really want to try to find a way that the pool is affordable, that it's used more often. We got to look at the cost of the lifeguards and of course we're hiring a pool manager this year. They'll manage all the lifeguards and hopefully when we get a committee, maybe by then we'll have a pool manager hired who can also be on there. So I just think we spend a lot of money on it, and I think we need to look at a little closer of what we're doing and how we're determining what we charge, and I want to see more people use it. I've lived in my same house now for 40 some years, and my kids used to have a pool pass and they'd go swimming in the afternoon and just come home for dinner in their swimming suits and then go back at night because it was open every night. Last year was only open 2 nights a week and often it wasn't open. And I just think that if people knew when the pool was open and that if they knew when they got there, they weren't going to see a sign saying closed, that they would be more apt to purchase a pass and to take advantage of our pool. Not every community has such a nice pool. I think we're lucky. And I really want to try to see us use it to the full potential.
I'm not trying to set you up here, Mayor, but I just briefly on another thing that was for a long time was Sunday afternoon pool was open.
Mhm.
And then when it's summer, Sunday afternoon, not everybody's busy. There are a lot of activities. some people may want to use the pool.
Yeah,
And was there something about Sunday that why the pool? Or like I said, you don't have to go into a long.
well, I
thing on
was
it.
told that it was because the lifeguards wanted to go to church. Well, that's fine, but church is in the morning and we could still,
That's
you
what I
know,
said.
yeah, I just
Yeah,
feel that
it's-
we really need to make some changes.
That a good portion of the lifeguards are on the swim team.
Right,
And the swim team kids are gone every weekend.
Yeah.
So Saturday and Sunday. So when the majority of our hired staff are gone for swim meets every
Yeah.
weekend, it was hard for them to staff the pool on weekends.
Makes sense.
That has been shifting more in the past few years where we've had more non-swim team kids lifeguarding. And so I don't think that that is as much of a problem as it has been in the past. So I think if we're hiring the right people, that won't be an issue to have the pool open more on the weekends.
and I did have a lifeguard call me and said that she has a regular job now and she only wants to work evenings and weekends. So I think there might be a few people like that have been a lifeguard in the past and might just want to pick up a little extra money and work in evenings and weekends. I think, I want to say that it's a fun job, but you're sitting out there in the heat and I'm sure it's not always as fun as it looks.
Oh, I think it could be difficult. One thing I just want to say that I think the manager, you were talking about the budget stuff. The pool manager will probably be starting, hopefully, I mean, not necessarily 40 hours a week, but in May, I would think they would need to really be organizing and then, like you said, if there was a manager, and then I'm not sure what committee, if you want people at the council to that have a lot of interest in it. I'm not sure this committee couldn't do it. I think these guys are all okay with that. But if you wanted a special committee, that's fine too. But the manager, sure, that would be great. And once we got organized, the swim team is a big stakeholder, and so somebody representing them. I don't think you want too many people on it to be more efficient. But anyway, you guys have some ideas. Go ahead. What do you think? It's February now, so definitely.
It's 10 below and we're talking about the swimming pool.
No, but I mean, we would need to get going.
So for their stuff, they start in January. So it would be really easy to get the president in here to start talking about some of these things.
Right. Yeah, I'm not worried about them being ready. I'm worried about if we're doing it, then and then you want to do it on a special, like just have a time when you get together as a committee as opposed to the regular committee. It just depends. Like today, we don't have as much as we've had a lot of times with committees. But
I didn't really want to overwhelm this committee because this is a committee that usually has a substantial amount of things on the agenda, and we will have a couple more things to add to today's agenda. But
this could be on the other council.
Right.
Could have a real interest in it, I guess. Yeah, I think it's a service. We've never there's a lot of infrastructure. Frank could tell us there's a lot of fixed costs that go into it that, like you were talking about, the pool is sitting there and it's not being used. We're still paying for it for that time until it's drained and all that. And if we can find a way to make it usable and try to make it a little more economical for the city at the same time, but it is a service. So in that light, I would say I don't expect us to look at all the costs being covered by the users. I think it's like people in town pay for the school. Well, they don't all go to school and they don't all have kids in school, but they still pay for it. And anyway, that's just my own philosophy on it. But the city's always, actually, I remember numbers, Mayor, like 60 and 80,000 at least in terms of what it cost us beyond the money that was collected. I'd be interested to know what was the most we've ever, what our revenues have been, because that's not information we usually hear either. We just know it's like a sinkhole. But a very important part of the community and a very important part
It is a
for this, and it does set us up as a unique community, maybe in our geographical region too, in that regard. And that's a thing that we should definitely work to maintain. That thing is probably in the records down there. This pool was started when? Do you remember?
In the early 60s,
Okay.
because I remember being a very small child and we had a big round pool, and it was kind of like a cone, like the deepest part was down in the middle. And I don't recall it being drained daily or anything like that. But I do remember that the citizens of the city built the pool, raised the money to build a new pool, so to speak. But it's maybe 1960 or 59 or 61, somewhere in that area is when we got the new pool, I think. But my memory could be
Okay.
mixed up because I'm
I
pretty
think
old.
Frank called for a story here. So the city swimming pool that I grew up in as a little kid, they had a sawmill teepee burner nearby, and so you've got the chips and stuff that floated down into the pool. And I mean, there was.
Well,
I've
we
seen them
used
in
to-
other places, like
Yeah.
Canada. My one trip there, where they had an industrial plant right next door, and I thought, well, they must have been required to put a park and a pool there, because it made no sense having it right next to the
Yeah.
industrial park where it was not, foul smelling air and all that kind of stuff. But anyways,
And I remember a couple of years that the high school used the pool.
Oh, yes. Oh,
For
yes.
gym or
Yes.
something.
they
So
had a
maybe
deal.
we could look at that again.
Yeah, they had a deal, because I remember, talking with P department and probably people at the city. The city provided the gyms. No, the schools provided the gyms for city old man basketball, women basketball, and young post high school kids basketball. Our recreation
sure.
programs. And so then the school got to use the pool for the first couple weeks. Well, Jason probably was in PE class when you guys swam in there. Or
Before my time.
Gary Nelson wasn't there anymore?
Yeah, he was there.
Oh, they did end it at some point. I think the city paid for the heating costs is what killed it, keeping the pool
Oh, yeah.
warm. But actually, I swam in it during that time a little bit, so I know they had the swimming pool going in early September. But it was the PE classes that was the reason for it.
Wow.
And there was probably one lifeguard and the teacher.
So you had more items that you wanted to add to the agenda?
Yes, I would. Well, so we will,
Why don't you write the report down?
Keep us going. I'm like, I got things to do tonight.
all right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Maybe one thing is to get the company to see who wants.
that's what I was gonna ask.
But I'm thinking it's probably gonna end up.
Down.
The FUPR committee anyway, Betsy would like to say, because I don't think Doug is gonna want to, I don't think Kevin. Yeah.
I know we-
That's good.
I know we preach about spending money. I'd really like to see a formal way to keep track of attendance in the cash.
Yes. I
And
agree.
even if it included a card swiper,
That's a good idea.
Jason volunteering for this meeting right now.
No, it's really important because we really struggled with even getting them to bring the deposits. Yep. They do have a time clock there. So,
It's a good idea. The committee not necessarily would have to be of the size. What the ramifications are, Mayor, I'll leave that to you, but
well, we'll get we'll see about the swim team and the pool manager. I would like to, so
sure.
that could be in a couple weeks. I don't know when. I don't have any applicants yet, but yes,
Okay.
so I'm going to ask that we add 2 items. One item to the agenda is flag disposal procedure. And then Katie's got some information about the STEP grant. So I think Frank has the information for the flag disposal.
Yeah, so Doug Byron came. That group there is trying to find a way to dispose of flags, yet still have to dispose of some.
The Cub Scouts.
Yeah. But so they want to buy an incinerator. They've been looking at one for a while. Buy a little whatever that consists of. And then we want to put it in the park up by BNSF, the ones who's BNSF there that they was granted, or however that agreement works with them. But they just he came in asking if it's against any city codes or in violation of city policies or anything. I couldn't find anything that would make it, but just it being what it is and the conversation, I figured I would just get approval to council to make sure that we didn't run into these problems later on down the road. So their idea, he's looking at an incinerator that's like 2x3 or 3x4 in that somewhere. They put it in an actual building. They would match it to the little brick. They're doing some changes in that park already, and they're going to match it to the park and everything else they do in the park. It'll be in the back corner, in the southeast corner of that park. And it basically looks like you see in some of our parks, so we have little sheds for our watering, our valves and all that for our sprinklers. It looks similar to that. They plan on making it out of the brick for big use for the other things. So nothing to see. There won't be an eyesore or anything like that. They'll be able to hold their ceremony and do their, the one flag and then dispose of the rest of them and how they want. So
Yeah.
I just told them I would talk to you guys about it, see how you felt. Get back to them, let them know.
Mayor, does our new code codifier thing, can you plug something in like that and then it would show if there was anything in city code that would, where there would
Well,
be,
there's an index,
yeah.
but it's not
You
up,
can't put in a search thing and do
not
this. and-
right now. I can't
Okay.
know.
And then our city attorney should also, I know he doesn't necessarily, he's not like the code book, but he also, as long as he would
Yeah, as long
Definitely
as
do
that
it.
would be approved.
give
I
us, help to be ready on Tuesday to give us his opinion
Okay.
if that, you guys go ahead. You guys got anything?
It's actually technically.
Yes, it is. That's I considering the use and
But you do want the council to approve it though?
Yeah, I want to take it forward to the council.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
So is it
There's no issues.
expired then? Maybe
yes, it'd be propane. Block the building.
it's bottom.
It's just like, oh, we'll take that. Keep a bottom bowl for to do the ceremonial one. The rest of it. Whatever the correct process is. I think they're doing really nice work over there. So they're doing a great job. Yeah, so they're gonna move their flag poles down, move their flag stands, and they've got some other stuff they're adding. They're cleaning, it's looking good. It's a good thing.
This is the VFW that made, you talked to Doug, that he's in charge of the VFW. Okay. Well, sounds good. We'll take that to the council then. So then, Mayor, what's number 6?
Katie talking about the STEP grant.
Okay, Shane.
Submit it by first. This year we have $10,500. It's a non-match grant. It pays for the overtime. Have our officers come out and do certain kind of traffic enforcement. And to show officer presence.
this grant will ask for 15,500.
And we have been getting reimbursed. We have been getting money
You got the
from,
last one.
right. So that's quite nice. It does help pay for some of the cost when an officer goes to the training and any training they go to usually is going to be some overtime and this helps pay for it. So it's been very nice.
So we can use it for that then, huh?
Mhm.
Okay. This is what they traditionally were using for extra patrols during holiday DUI. So is it specifically related to DUI enforcement? $15,500, and then the council needs to approve this, so get the paperwork in. Yeah, we've been doing this for quite a while. So.
Sheriff's office does it, most agencies do it, it's the click it or ticket thing.
You guys got anything else you want to say on this? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda then, Mayor, for the council. Anything else, Mayor? Any public comment? It says 4:45 Dave, so without any public comment, then we're adjourned 4:45. So.